Alright, so I upped the zoom level on the VS Code just so then you can see it a little bit better. I noticed in the last video it was pretty zoomed in. So in this video we're going to be making our main file, which is the Instabot file. This is just where we're going to be calling all the functions that we're going to be making in other files to log in, to scroll for links, to like photos, and to like all the photos of a user. So we're going to go through and make the Instabot file to begin with. This is going to be just a right click on the file explorer over there, instabot.js, pop it open, and we're going to pretty much just copy paste over here. If you don't have this, then you can follow along there. It's just a lot of typing. I'm just gonna make it a little bit faster here. And then let's also create one, imported functions. This is where we're going to import our functions, like our login function that we're going to create in just a moment. So to begin, let's just make a async function, call that, and at the end we're going to call it, so then when we call this function, or when we start it in Node, this will just automatically fire. We don't have to do anything strange. Just anything within this function will be immediately called. So let's create our browser, await puppeteer.launch, and we're going to make sure that headless is set to false. This is just to make sure that we see what we're doing as we're doing it. Const page is equal to await browser.new page. This is creating a new tab that we can work with. Now, the first thing that we're going to want to do is log in. So I'm going to make a variable called URL. Actually, let's call it Instagram. And we're going to go over to Instagram here, copy the URL. This is going to be just where we're going to be logging in. So you can see, password, username, and then I'm using backticks here just in case you wanted to interpolate in and you go into a different place. If you're having troubles with the Instagram front page, maybe go to like /login or wherever may be easier for you. And then we're going to call, actually, let's create the file of login first. So new file, right click, new file, login.js. And we're going to make sure that we export it for Node. So module.exports is equal to an async function. And we're going to want to pass in the page element, so we can use page, and then URL. This is where we're going to pass in that Instagram variable we made, and we're going to do your username. You can name this whatever you want if you don't like uppercase, and your password. I'm using that naming schema just because that's what I'm going to be using to pull out the username and password from our environmental variables. I'll also create that in this video. Very simple stuff. And then we're going to want to do await page.go to URL. And we're just going to keep it as that right now. So here we created a function. We're calling it login. We don't have a variable name in this file because we just don't need to export it that way. If you'd like, you can name it, but that's just not something I'll be doing right now. And we're going to want to create a variable called login that's going to store what's in that file and what's being exported. So while it's still a variable, it stores a function, and you can utilize it just as if it was in your main file. and then require it. You want to do the dot slash, make sure that it's in your directory. If it's in a different file, like if you made a new folder called functions or something, then you would want to do dot slash functions slash login, wherever your file is placed. And let's save this. Let's go back. Be sure to put a semicolon there. I was having some issues before. Was trying to call this login function that it was a whole mess. And then let's log in. So we'll pass in page, and we'll pass in the Instagram URL. Save that. And to start your node server, you want to do node instabot instabot.js. Just whatever you named your file. If you named it index, if you named it root, whatever you'd like, press enter, and boom, we have Instagram booting up and the Headless Chrome browser starting. So this is the Headless Chrome browser. You could see that it has the Chrome is being controlled by automated software. And what we're going to want to do is find, let me pop this over in half here. And I'm just going to be utilizing the Chrome browser here. Let me actually pop up the Instagram one and then move over there, just so then when it closes out, we can still use it. And inspect. And click this little button up here to find an element, because we're going to be wanting to type within this input. Let me pop this to the bottom, have a wider view. And you can see there's a lot of stuff that we can work with here. The easiest thing to do is select it by this name is equal to username. So we'll do that here. Login, await, page.type, and then whatever selector it is. So we're selecting an input, and it has some data attributes, and we're going to be selecting the name attribute and make sure that's equal to username. And what we're going to be typing is your underscore username, and we're going to add a delay of 20 milliseconds between each one. I'm sure that you could do it without, because autocomplete makes it so that it looks like it's typing immediately. I like to add the delay of 20 because it looks cooler when you're logging in. And let's try that up. So we'll come in, and what I'm going to do is create a new file called .env. You don't need anything in front of it. This is where you're going to store your environmental variables. And we're going to do your underscore username is equal to, and then whatever your username is. I'm going to pause the video real quick, fill out this stuff, but make sure that in your file, you got your underscore username and your underscore password. And then pass in whatever that is within double quotes so that it looks like a string. Anyway, I will be right back, and it will be on the Instabot page. Alright, so I got the environmental variables all set up, and what we're going to want to do is import those, the username and password here. So right underneath imported functions, I'm going to do env variables. Let's do const your underscore username. Again, you can name this anything, is equal to process.env dot your underscore username, whatever you named it in your environmental folder, and then const your underscore password is equal to process.env dot your underscore password. And let's be sure to import the environmental variable, the .env. So require .env. This is something that we installed earlier. This just allows us to access environmental variables. So, and then let's pass in your underscore username here. I don't have the password going yet. Let's just pass that in anyway. And moment of truth, does it work? I'm gonna close that out, open it back up, and let's see if it types. So we ran into an issue, and the issue is that the page doesn't actually have input when we first enter. So whatever they're using, if they're using, let's check it out. It's built by Facebook, so I'm assuming that they're using React. Doesn't look like it for the login page anyway, but we'll have to just wait for that. So we've got to do this wait for selector, await page dot wait for selector, and we're just going to copy paste in the input username right there, and that will just have the page wait until it sees this element within the document. And let's try it again. Close out. Control C in the command line will exit your program. Run node Instabot again. And boom. See it type out? A little hacker language there. And let's do the same thing with the password. So let's go check out. I'm just going to close this out. If you close this, it'll close your node instance, just to let you know. Not view page source. Inspect. Select the password. And this also has a name of password. So what we could pretty much just do is copy paste and change this and change this. Actually, this has to be lowercase. I'll just do one at a time. Password and password. Thank you, autocomplete. Delay 20. And we don't need to wait for the page selector because we're going to assume that if the input of username is available, then the input of password will also be available. And because that's the same code that we've already run, I'm just going to go on and await for this page to be selected. So I'm just going to type in some nonsense here just to get this login thing to pop up. And let's find it. It's a button with a class. Okay, so button type of submit. So we can do await page dot click button type is equal to submit. Close those brackets up. And let's check it out. Node Instabot should go through and fill out the username, fill out the password, and then click that submit. Boom, we're logged in. And there's another thing that you want to be sure to do. It's a problem that you'll run into if you try to run, like let's do right after this login. Let's do a page.go to, let's just find an Instagram account. I'll use CDA Spider-Man. This is my buddy who does Spider-Man parties. And, you know, definitely check out his page if you're interested. He's got some good stuff there. A little bit of, you know, self-promotion of the homie. But something you'll notice, if we go to that page immediately after, it's not going to authenticate our headless browser. So, node Instabot, you'll see it'll go through login, press the login, but before you're authenticated, it'll go to this page. Yeah, see? Oh, actually, the reason why that's not happening is the keyword awaits. Any problems that you're having with Puppeteer, I can almost guarantee that it's due to the await keyword. Let's start it up again. Log in. You'll see that. Oh, well, what's happening there? We already logged in. Well, that's because we haven't done await page dot wait for navigation. And that will just make sure that, you know, when you navigate to another page, due to this click here, that it will actually fire off. Now let's do it again. Login in, password, click login, and it authenticates. Then it comes through. You see I've got my logged in thing here. It says I'm following them and that I can message, all of that. Pretty cool stuff. So I'm gonna end it here, and in the next video we'll go through and figure out how to pull all of the photo URLs and like those photos. Stay tuned.